Hello, everyone. We are back today for a nice short video. We are going to talk about Cabal. What's a Cabal, you ask? Well, I will tell you. It has two meanings because, just like Merriam-Webster tells us here, the contrived schemes of a group of persons secretly united in a plot as to overturn a government. We have overturned Juan Cabal from Inter Milan. He is now a Juventino. And with me tonight, we have German Dave and Dash to break it down. But before they do, please please subscribe, smash all those buttons, and boys, please let us hear what you have to say, because I don't think a lot of people really know who Juan Cabal is. So fill us in.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's an interesting pickup, right? Because it caught us on the blind side because we're all focused on, your Koopmeyers, your Toribos, your Calafiores, if some people are still focused in on that, the Chiesa renewals and all the other shenanigans. Got to throw in a Chiesa jab on there every now and then. But it's an interesting player, to say the least. This was one of the few players that, for example, German Dave had to resort to watching film, deep film watching. Yeah. Same thing with me, trying to understand kind of the logic behind it. I think, us debating it a little bit in the pre-show prep, where we kind of have a rough idea now on how he's going to line up and where he's going to go. Just because we're looking at certain attributes that he has, and it's almost kind of like he has some things, but not all things. But German Dave, do you want to talk about the numbers per se before we kind of go into the actual board on how he's going to line up?
Yeah, no, I get into it in a second. I just want to preface first, I don't think any of us is going to act like we knew this guy from the beginning and and knew his playing style and everything. So we had to do our homework to try to understand what the thought was behind it by the management in Giuntoli and the scouting department, and by Thiago Motta, because I don't think that Giuntoli will buy a player without Motta's consent, or at least his yes, I can use him for the lineup. So to preface that, I think all Juventus parties said yeah to the move, and that's why I think we can somewhat trust this deal, and the numbers may be showing it that he's a perfect squad player or depth player. We will see how he will integrate into the squad and into the philosophy.
So you heard it. Dave and Dash did their homework. Copy them so you don't have to do it. It's all here. Here's the answers test on Wednesday.
The image that we kind of want to also give to you guys as well is we don't want to sit here and overgas Cabal and say that this is the heist of the century, but at the same time, we're not saying that this guy's ass, right? There are certain attributes that he just doesn't have or hasn't been shown yet, and then there's other things where it's just okay, he's really good, but we're not, it's not the second coming of Maldini, right? We're not going to sit here and say that, because there is a ceiling and there's a floor, and we're kind of trying to tinker in between, where it makes sense.
No, just to say it shortly, like Dash said, he's not completely ass. He's not ass at all, but also he's not the forward-moving, offensive, creative fullback that you would expect in the modern football. He's more so a squad player or a depth piece that will help you, overall throughout the season, basically. So, and with that being said, we can go into the stats already, because
so you said depth piece.
Yeah,
that's the question that we're kind of posing. How deep of a piece is he going to be, or is he maybe on the line of a starter? But the numbers will hopefully tell us.
Yeah, the numbers will tell us what I think he will be a borderline starter that will start some games, that you can bench some games if you need more offense. But for defensive stability, I think he's a player that you can start in most of the games to have control defensively over the game. So the numbers show you can't expect anything big offensively. So let's preface that he is not going to be the Trent Alexander-Arnold of the left side or the Kyle Walker from Manchester City. Like
That could be a good thing though, as well, right?
yeah, that could be also a good thing, but don't expect any creativity from him. He's more so, and the numbers showed like a defensively an absolute monster. These stats right here in the green, sorry, it's written there in German because I didn't think to set it into English. But
Here, I can do the quick translation. So the first one is tackles, the second one's interceptions, blocks, clearances, and aerials one.
This is an international podcast, so here we go.
Damn, Dash, your German
das Deutsch ist sehr gut. Herr
Dein
Dash.
Deutsch ist
Yeah, I know,
sehr
I know.
gut. Mann.
No, hey, thank you. Dankeschön.
Yeah.
Dankeschön.
Yeah. So he's incredible in duels. Like for fullback, 83% is incredible. And all these stats are compared to defenders overall, not only fullbacks. So he is within defensively one of the best defenders in Europe. Like he's in the top 17 like percentile in overall one duels. Intercepted balls, he's in the top percentile. Like he's intercepting like 1.5 like balls per 90. He's winning over two duels defensively like over 90 minutes. And with the minutes that he's played, this is incredible stats because he played 1,500 minutes for Verona.
He seems very blue collar, which is something.
He's very blue collar, and if you watch the film, he's sliding into tackles. He's using his body to. He's a Bremer light, basically. He's perfectly fine using his strength and his body because he's kind of tall as well. For a fullback, he's 1.86 m, and he has a tank of a body as well. Like if you see him on the field, like he stands actually out, like he has a presence on the field.
It's big.
He bosses wingers and midfielders around. Like he's very good defensively. He has 3.3 clearances per 90. He's also in the top 9 percentile over there, and his aerial presence for being only 1.86 m as a fullback to be in the top percentile of one aerial duels is incredible.
I wonder what his vertical is then.
He's got to have a good. He has a good one. I don't think they've measured it because in footy it's not like basketball or football, right, where they can measure your vertical. But I don't.
Well, they can. They just
they just use the offside line that they use for offside to measure people's vertical. Because like I remember they measured Ronaldo's with the header against Sampdoria, and it was just like an outrageous number. Cabal doesn't have that kind of vertical, but for example. And to kind of further more on what German
his positioning is perfect. Yes. Like how he anticipates balls, how he anticipates passes by the opponent. He's sliding right there between. He's very intelligent defensively, and like his positioning and in duels using his body, fighting the attacker of winning the ball back. Like he's actually incredible.
He is, in that being said, that he is one of the best one-on-one specialists you would have, right? He is
all over Europe.
Like
all
definition
over
of
Europe's top 5 leagues. Yeah,
he is the definition of a sweeper. Again, give it time, right? Because he is only 22 years old. He's still very, very young. So it's also just understand that, right? And this is a big move because he came from Colombia's Nacional team. He goes to Hellas Verona for 2 seasons. He doesn't really play his first season at Hellas Verona, but he picks it up, gets some featured minutes this second season, and then he comes over to us. I think one of the big deals that, and people can say, well, maybe this is just, Juve stiffen into the bird. Partially yes, partially no.
So was Gatti, though, if we remember?
Gatti was 10 million, I think, if Frosinone.
But yeah, Inter
wanted him as well.
Yeah, it's similar. It has similar vibes to that anyways.
The main thing, and this is where it's a little bit different and more similar to Cambiasso, right? The main reason why I think from a business standpoint, Juve wanted to lock down Cabal is because as we've known that fullbacks are a premium in this game. You can't, like, for example, unless you're Manchester City, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, or any one of those, or Real Madrid, you can't buy a fullback in their prime. You either buy them before they're good or you buy them towards the twilight of their career. There's no in between. You don't get it in between. So, like for example, with Cambiasso, we purchased him for what, 8-9 million, loaned him out, brought him back in. He's cooked. Like he's not cooked in a negative sense, but he's cooking now, and he's 3 times, 4 times, 5 times the value that he was worth. The same thing I think is going to happen with Cabal, right? The same thing again. I have the anticipation with Jello, so I think with Cabal as well, is that we're scratching our heads initially, right? Initially, we're all like, what the hell is a Cabal? Now that when you look at it, I think that from a business standpoint, it gives you a control for 5 years. So by the time we're done with him, he's 27 years old. So by then, he's either an elite fullback or you send him somewhere else. One of the two.
So that's a bit of a question as well. Is he a fullback? Is that what we bought him for?
I believe so.
Because he is left-footed. He can play center back. Perhaps there's an option there. But I see Dave has a heat map that might tell a story there.
Yeah. Hold up. Let me pull it up. So he's a proper fullback. Like he can work, like you can see in this area, he can work a bit more centrally, but that is more so where he sometimes cleans the ball up when for example his team loses the ball and they get attacked on that side, then he switches or he inverts a little bit into the midfield area and cleans it up right there. Like that's not his typical area where he works, but he can defend there also like hell. But you see on his positioning, like he's a pure fullback. He doesn't give you, like we said, anything offensively. He doesn't cut into the box. Like he appears there sometimes. Where you see the yellow dots there. Like he's sometimes right there, but he doesn't give you anything offensively. So don't expect fireworks. But he's a blue-collar player that is high energy. He wins you the ball back in that area, and he wins also 57% of his duels. Let's say the opponent's offense is trying to build up on their right side, on our left side, so to say, and he's disturbing them around the midfield area, and he's even winning 57% of those duels every single time. So he's able to stop the opponent in nearly 60% of the cases where they are trying to build up on the right side. So he will clean up everything that is there. And now the question.
Sorry, go ahead. I was going to say this is perfect, right? Because like for example, when you look at the deep red spots on the map, right? So when you from the anticipation and the ideas of what we've thought about Mota's system is going to be, right? And instant pressing, instant ball retrieval. And you look at that red zones, those are ideal for a Mota system of these zones that he wants the ball back. Because Mota isn't expecting us, we're not expecting, or at least to my knowledge, there isn't a low block with Thiago Mota, right? There isn't where we sit back deep, right? Where, like, for example, with Cabal, then it would be the corner flags that would be red. But that red blob right there is the initial spot for his system to truly bear fruit, because you counter off a press and you need to be able to win duels high up the field like that.
Yeah. Beauty. And to add on top of that, he's winning the ball back in that whole like dark red area. He's not great in the passing game, but what he is great at, when he won the ball back, his first pass is winning room. He's playing like 4 room winning passes, and those are all after winning the ball back. Like he's not involved like in passing combinations. Don't expect that. But when he wins the ball back, he can like pass it, for example, into the midfield area to one of our midfielders, or if a winger is there, for example, pass it into the run for the winger. Like he's great at those passes. Like when he passes the ball, and he does that nearly 5 times per game, he's winning you room.
So let's see how that lines up. Let's see how that lines up. Dash.
Yep.
Show us a proposed lineup of how where he's going to play and potentially who he's passing it off to.
Okay, perfect. There's 2 variations of the formation that I think Thiago Motta is running in training, and then also what I believe he said himself, right? The 4-2-3-1, my favorite. Finally, it's back. And then the 4-3-2-1. which is the defensive variation of that. So if we go to the old etch and sketch board here, so right now, folks, I'm going to need you all to bear with me because I am going with what we have currently under contract on the roster as we speak. This is subject to change, obviously, because we're towards the end of July. There's still the month of August. We can still purchase. We could still sell. But going off of what I have for the best 11 in this sense, this is the lineup that I have. I have Cabal on the left, Bremer and Danilo as the two center backs, and then I have Cambiaso on the right. Then I have a midfield trio in the 4-3-2-1 variation of this with Thuram, Fajoli, and Luis. And then I've got Yildiz and Weah. Again, folks, I'm assuming that Chiesa's out the door. That's why I don't have him on here. Sude and Chiesa potentially out the door. I'm going with stuff that we have proper control under. Chiesa isn't under control because he hasn't signed an extension. He technically is on the team, but out of the plans to what we've been told. And then we have Broccoli Hair up top as well. So the idea that I'm looking at this tactically, right? Because in correlation to Dave's board, right? So Cabal is going to essentially, with my good old marker gadget tool here, Cabal's going to occupy kind of this space here. Most of his ball winning is going to be where this X is. The reason is when Cabal is able to win the ball in this area, he's got multiple options here where you have, I'm going to assume Fajoli's going to probably push up a little bit high here. So where Dave says that, hey, look, his first touch in room or his first pass in room is exquisite. And even then, with the setup that he has where he has Yildiz up ahead, he has Thuram to his right, Fajoli, if he's able to penetrate a little bit deeper, you don't need him to create much. You just need him to get the ball back. And if he's able to do that, he's got a plethora of options. And again, I encourage you watch the film on him because the way that he makes his tackles and essentially wins the ball back, he effectively takes the ball carrier out of the game. From the
They're heavy tackles.
He's very intelligent. He's very, very intelligent.
And I don't mean like injury tackles like he's injuring them. No, he effectively either sends them in the opposite direction, causes their momentum to work against them, effectively negates them from the play. So that's what's giving him that space where he has all the time in the world to make the pass or the movement. So with how he is lined up on the left here, I'm not really concerned about whether or not he's able to play the perfect pass because I don't need him to. I just need him to make a 3 or 4 meter ball. And he's a professional athlete. He can make a 3 to 4 meter pass.
Yeah.
Unless he's last year's Juve. They couldn't do that, surprisingly. But they're working on that. They're working on that now. But to break it down simply, you're expecting him to essentially turn this area as NFL enthusiasts would like to call it, a no-fly zone or a lockdown corner. In this case, he's a lockdown fullback. So the idea that Cabal wants, that we need Cabal, and hopefully he develops even more so, is that with Mota is hoping that Cabal is able to essentially negate this entire quadrant of the field, where he's essentially locked this entire area down. He doesn't. Again, it's going to take time. It's not going to be, off rip. This is kind of like once he develops more and gets more games under his feet. Mota is hoping that if he is able to have him as a lockdown fullback here, it forces the other team to counteract to try to attack this side, which again, if you're forcing a team to attack in one direction, they become super predictable, easy to catch out, easy to read, and then that opens up essentially one side of the field for you to counter on them, right? So tactically, from the long-term state, I think he's trying to set him up as a lockdown fullback, which is rare because we never really see that often in footy now. But short-term, he's expecting him to win that side, essentially passes or intercept passes, intercept dribbles, stop people down to essentially facilitate the press. But it's pretty much where my thoughts are.
Do you know who he is very close to? Like in comparison, according to FODMAP, ironically. Sorry, to FBref, not to FODMAP. Luca Pellegrini.
Oh, that's funny.
Not bad.
And his stats are like from Cabal, not Pellegrini, I'm sorry. But Cabal's stats defensively are incredible, and he gives you a bit more offensively because he's winning the ball back high, and he is a help offensive player, basically. You can't expect the creating of him, but if he wins that ball, you can 100% expect it to be passed into a dangerous area or to a player that is better positioned to then pass the ball forward or take a dribble or whatever.
Yeah, and it's by Motta's design, right? So, for example, the two and the other two on both of the 272s, horizontally, folks, not vertically. I don't want to say they're expendable, but I want to say that they have, as far as when it comes to job duties and responsibilities, they're generally tasked with one thing, whether it's attack space, win the ball back, or do something and it's by design. Where you're going to see most of your creativity come from your mid seven, right? Your goalkeeper, your two center backs, your three midfielders, your striker or your 10. And then, for example, whichever winger goes into the space, I would assume that granted, all of our wingers are pretty technically gifted with Yildiz. I still think Cambiaso might be a winger later down the road. And then say what you want about Weah, folks, but Weah's got pace and he's got a pretty decent dribble. So Weah's got that.
And he has a great shot in him as well.
Exactly. And then if Chiesa does decide to stay and put on his big boy pants, he can also be an asset as well. But again, as Bonucci said it, not me, being adult. But overall, I think we've hit everything on the head here. Do we have any other thoughts that we need to cover on this?
No, I can give you my last thoughts kind of, because I think our left side and the right side are mirrored basically. So if we have Cabal and Diallo basically on the left side, one is a fullback and one is a center back that can play fullback. And for the right side, you have Cambiaso, who is a fullback, and Gatti as a center back that can play fullback on the right side. So both sides are basically mirrored. So you will have the creativity all the time from Cambiaso. If he plays on the right side, you will have Cabal or Diallo like as the defenders on the left side. You don't expect the creativity for them. Cambiaso is the man to do that. And if Cambiaso plays on the left side, then you have Gatti on the right side. So no matter what, right now, if we don't get another fullback, I think this is our philosophy, to have one of our fullbacks set up as a defender right now. And that makes him, in my opinion, automatically a borderline starter. Because if you have an opponent that you want to lock up on the left side, Cabal is your starter, because he is that defensively great. And it depends on the opponent. In my opinion, he's an honest borderline starter, or an actual starter that you throw in depending on your game plan.
Beautiful. Thanks for that breakdown. I want to hear what you guys have to say about this. Have you watched Cabal before? Do you know anything about him? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Grind these guys' gears. Let them know. Before we sign off, there's one little thing I want to laugh at, because you got to end on a good note. Just here, transfer market. Last updated June 5th. Bit out of date. Interested clubs, probability of transfer, 70% for Inter Milan. Screw you, Inter. There you go. Thank you very much. Catch us on our lives Wednesdays and Saturday nights with our F1 pods, releasing Sunday evenings. So thank you so much, guys. Dave Dash, thanks for convincing me that this was a good idea. I hope you guys feel the same way. Thank you, and we'll catch you on the next one.